Dear learners, today we are going to talk about two very important types of verbs, that is transitive and intransitive verbs. Coming to transitive verb, a verb is transitive when the action of the verb passes from the subject to the object. For example, he writes a letter. In this example, the verb writes passes from the subject he to the object a letter. So this is how it works. Coming to transition, in order to understand transition, we need to know the idea that transition is a passage from one stage or state or position to another. For example, if we have a journey which starts from point A and completes at point C. So C is the destination, and intermediate between this point A and point C, we stop at somewhere at point B. So, and we have there our camp. So that camp will be called as transit camp, mean transitory, temporary camp. Their stay will be for a short time, and then we have to move to our destination, which will complete our journey. So same is the case with verb. When we come to the verb in transitive verbs, so the journey is not completed unless we move to our destination, that is object. For example, we need a boat. When we say we need, sense is not complete, and when we have to move forward to a boat, then the sense gets completed and we get our complete meanings. There are three important types of transitive verbs. First one is monotransitive. Mono means one. When there is only one object, it is called as monotransitive. For example, police caught a thief. They pluck flowers every day. In both the examples, a thief and flowers, they are the only objects, and that is why they are called as monotransitive. Then we have ditransitive. As the name shows, di means two. When there are two objects, one object will become direct object and the other will be indirect object. The example, she gave him a pen. In this example, a pen is direct object and him is indirect object. Keep in mind that direct object, we call it direct because it is more involved in the action than the indirect object. So that's why it is called as direct object. It is pen which is being given, so that's why it is more involved in the action. Indirect object, direct object is passed on to it, mean it receives direct object. So that's why it is called as indirect object. Mostly direct objects are, most of the time, they are inanimate, non-living entities, but it is not always the case. Moving on to the third kind, that is complex transitive. Complex transitive, it has an object and an object complement. When there is an object and an object complement in a sentence, it is called as complex transitive construction. For example, Edwin made him the principal. So him is object and the principal is a complement to him. That's why it is called as object complement, and the construction is called as complex transitive construction. It is also important to keep in mind that sentences having transitive verbs, they can only be changed into passive voice and not the ones having intransitive verbs. There is another idea or concept which is very important to know, that is called as ambitransitive verbs. These are the verbs which can be used in both ways, that is, they can be transitive or intransitive. And it depends on the situation, for example, the context and the way they are used. For example, we have Dad cooks special dish on my birthday. So here the verb cooks is in this sentence transitive verb because it is taking direct object, that is special dish. The same verb, when it is there in the second example, Dad cooks on my birthday. So in this example, there is no direct object and cooks becomes an intransitive verb. So the verb cook can be called as ambitransitive verb. Moving on to intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are the ones which do not require object to make sense. They have the meanings on their own. They sometimes have an adverb or adverbial phrase to complete their meanings. Like we have the example, he runs. In this example, runs is an intransitive verb and the meaning is complete. The meaning becomes more clear when we have an adverb added to it. He runs fast. And then adverbial phrase, he runs very fast. So this makes the meaning more clear. Hope you have got the idea. And if there is something that you are unable to understand, please do ask in comment.